Oh, thank you.
Have we started?
Yes.
Oh, wow. What an opening. That wasn't even meant for the pod.
Nah,
This is a
listen.
little insight into how we speak to each other. Hello, it's Btec Philosophers with me, Elliot Steele, and...
Michael Adewale, co-host or equal host.
Equal host. I don't like co-host.
Co is equal anyway.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds it, isn't it? Yeah, so... well, no, because you'd have co-pilot and the real pilot.
Yeah, but then also, like, with the co-pilot, real pilot, when shit goes down, real pilot takes control. So I feel like that is our dynamic. Like if the shit was going to, you would be taking control
Of the podcast.
of the podcast.
Stopping it from hitting the Swiss Alps.
I'd be panicking. Talking of the Swiss Alps,
Oh, yeah. Nice.
you've been doing some traveling recently.
Yeah, I was in the Alps. I was in the Austrian Alps. So I was away last week. Thank you for Phoebe as well, our wonderful producer, for stepping it up and actually talking about philosophy on this podcast.
You're very welcome.
That's not what this podcast stands for, even though the title suggests it.
Yeah, it was very unsettling to have actual educated debates.
Yeah, this podcast is morons coming in and not really understanding what philosophy is. Because my idea of philosophy is it's just you get high and you think about something.
Yeah,
And that's philosophy, innit?
yeah, that's what all the greats did.
That's basically it. To the very angry people in the Btec Philosophers accounts DMs, which you should be following on Instagram and Twitter. No, we're not gonna learn about philosophy and study. That ruins what this podcast is.
Yeah, it's false advertising, but you know what? You're here now.
Yeah, this is podcast is coming on and talking shit about subjects that we have we like. The philosophy of this podcast is to make the world a little bit worse every week. That's what we want to do. Just our bit. Oil companies are doing the main part.
Yeah.
They're going out there, they're killing fish, burning, funding movements in Africa that are for warlords and stuff, so they're able to get oil.
Yeah.
They're doing the majority of it, but we like to do our bit.
We're
every
number
little help.
2 on that list.
I wouldn't say number 2. I don't know. Number 2 would be like probably paedophiles or something.
Pedophiles are pretty bad.
Speaking of paedophiles, have you seen that Jimmy Savile doc?
I have not seen the Jimmy Savile doc. I don't know what new information there is to be gleaned.
Oh, he's exonerated.
Oh, really? Is that
It's
the
completely scot-free.
it's a happy ending?
Yeah, it turns out we got the wrong guy.
Definitely looked like the right guy.
And that's the thing. That generation, how dare they ever do the when the boomers start doing this woke generation couldn't storm the beaches of Normandy. You guys couldn't even work out the most paedophilic looking guy was a paedophile.
He made very clear hints the whole time of his career. I think that he was doing that shit. And yeah, I think he was being protected a lot. I think what they said by the police and.
Yeah, but also they gave him a TV show where he got to make kids' dreams come true. Yeah. They made him Santa Claus. We can't storm the beaches of Normandy. You guys gave a paedophile a show where he knows the ins and outs of children's dreams.
For 40 years. Just like it'll be like sick kids on hospital beds who can't run away and shit. You know what I mean? So they made it just like really prime targets.
You know, he pulled it off, man.
Aye, man. He died not being he died thinking nobody found out.
Yeah. Well, once you're dead, you're kind of is that it? Are you dead? That'll be the subject of this week, actually. Are you, death, mortality.
Mortality. Well, like I believe that like your body, once it dies, it's still like it goes off into the air and stuff.
Your body? Do you mean your spirit?
No. Like your body, bits start coming. Like you become part of the environment, part of the air.
Yeah. Like you
decompose and then
you decompose. You don't come part of the air.
And then you your body filters out, and then it's like part of the air. People breathe you in and stuff, and that's how you keep living.
So because people are inhaling you.
Yeah, people are inhaling you, and then you just keep living that way.
Do you think? How many people do you think you've inhaled?
In London, so many dead people. Some not dead as well. It was you just take it all in to your chest. Yeah.
I don't know. Who do you reckon the most influential person? Who's the person you would most like to inhale? Like if you found out you'd inhaled them, you'd be like, oh wow, cool.
Maybe Martin Luther King.
I don't think you've inhaled Martin.
I don't think because he died and it takes a lot for that air to come over here.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was UK based.
Yeah, you can't.
Jay Goody. Fuck it up, fair enough.
Just what a drop of dream. Oh, Martin, if I can't have Martin Luther King, the civil rights movement, I'll have Jade Goody, the reality television star.
I was thinking of the UK equivalent.
The UK equivalent of Martin Luther King is Jade Goody. She was racist. She was everything he stood against. She famously was racist. Oh, you know that equivalent of she called someone Shilpa Papadon, and he gave a speech about having a dream that his kids wouldn't suffer racial injustice, and you're like, man, they've just both got such good points.
It's I didn't think this through. I didn't think this through.
Hey, that's absolutely slayed me. Oh, fuck. It was so defeated. You were just trying to think of a British dead person.
This is the first one that came to mind.
It was the only famous dead Brit. I don't know, Jacob. It was a high profile death about 15 years ago.
Oh gosh, man. Are you scared of dying?
Terrified.
Really?
Terrified of dying.
Why? Why?
I think you don't know what's coming next, and
No, you're dead.
You're dead. But that's also the thing. This is the thing with death. That I think it's hard for humans to find comfort in. That's why we have things like religion. Is once you die, you don't matter anymore.
Oh yeah.
In terms of things like in a physical sense. Now, sure, you can have all that, but what about the legacy you leave and the people you mean stuff to? It doesn't matter.
But if you're famous
dead.
enough, you could get like a Google Doodle, and then like those like a person of the day has Google Doodle.
All right, so then there'll be a Google Doodle of you that day.
Yeah.
For the things you did.
That's all. That means you lived a pretty good life. You got a Google Doodle.
Google Doodle is up there, but I don't think I'm going to live the kind of life where Google's going to Google me.
I think it would harm their company.
I think you'd go
Bing.
Yeah, I just who cares?
Yeah, you think all search engines would just avoid your death?
Yeah, I think everyone would be. No, we can't have one of it.
Even Ask Jeeves. But so for you, it's like because it's permanent death.
Death is a permanent. Well, I don't know. Nobody can truly say. Death. What is this that we're experiencing now? This could be a version of death. When I was a kid, I used to scare myself because I used to think, what if this is my life flashing back before my eyes? Ooh. And then I thought, what if it's not even my life? What if it's someone I once had an interaction with when I'm like 40 and the life is now having to create this version of me that isn't really real to come into his flashback of his eyes?
How old are you when you're having these thoughts?
Like 7, man. I was a fucked up kid.
Yeah. This explains a lot. I mean, you think with more depth then than you do now, I would say. So that's interesting.
I had to.
Sometimes I think that, like, what if I'm currently in a coma and like this is just all my thoughts, and then I'll just wake up and then like you fell off your bike. But then I also like, what do I gain from thinking like that, you know?
Yeah, this is always a good thing you do is I'll start thinking like that and panic about it, and you go, meh.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we're here now. You know, I don't know if this is a simulation or not. Do you think? What is that when people say this is a simulation? What do they mean? Do they mean like the actual Sims, like someone's playing you on a video game?
I guess that could be it. All right, so here's the thing: if you've got a simulation, right? As in, say we create AI. This is one of the things. Vaguely, what I understand what they're talking about. However, I will go into something next to show why you shouldn't listen to me, which is a bad way to preface what I'm about to say.
Okay.
But this is what I understand simulation theory to be. If we get to a point where we create a really advanced AI and we start looking at things as in like we start being able to create a little mini universe to see what life could be, to do things, to understand things, and it could run that complex.
Yeah.
What we're suddenly going to go, hold on, how do we know we're not one of these? That's what I understand simulation theory to be. So somebody is running so there's just a lot of different, you know, that's why, and I don't know, it kind of makes sense to me that it's like, well, that's why there's the edge of the universe. Well, the universe goes on forever, but not really. Well, what's outside the universe? we can't see it. That means there must be something else out there that would just at the moment we can't comprehend. But I was talking about AI to a dude that actually makes AI once, the guy named Brad, a very nice lad who designs like he's working on self-driving cars, so he knows a fair bit about it. And I was going, what happens if we create an AI so clever that it takes us out? And he went, well, you just don't do. He was like, no, okay. He was like, okay, I get it. You've listened to Elon Musk on Joe Rogan. And he just basically went, you could just program it not to do that.
Very patronising guy is this Brad.
Yeah, well, he was fair enough.
Yeah.
It was a stupid question, it turns out. He goes, you just program it not to do it. And I went, well, you can't. He was like, it's a computer. You just program it not to do it.
Like, we say that, but then we're human beings. We're naturally overambitious. We made Frankenstein, which I'm aware is not a real story. But,
It's a real story. It's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing, but the story was real about how we just always go too far. So there's just going to be one team of people like, well, why not create something that is possible of doing that?
Well, we did make 2 AIs that could speak to each other, and they started speaking a language that we didn't understand, so we just destroyed them.
Yeah. Well, I think the minute it gets out.
We did that?
Yeah.
When did we do that?
A few years ago. I'll Google it.
I'll say we.
No, it was the squirrels, Michael. we did that.
I think you meant us 3.
I go away for 1 week.
I think it was in 2011.
And then, because we didn't know what they were speaking, we killed them.
Yeah.
Is that not inhumane?
Well,
They're not human.
They're
so
not human. But
it's not incomputerish.
This is the issue, right? So we got death as we know it in like what we consider death really sad, because deep down we know that it means you're not around anymore. Your short time and whatever this is over. It's done, and we're not going to be able to create memories with you anymore. We're going to have the old memories. It's going to be a painful thing. It's also going to be a wonderful thing, right? But that's why I think people buy into religion, because then it gives you the idea that this isn't forever. And within that is something beautiful. And then what happens is the Catholic Church start buggering a lot of boys. And it comes a little bit like, okay, right, well, people are using this for bad things now. I think in the whole religion is a beautiful thing. I think any religion that exists at its core is nice. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Not nice. Sorry. The message in it is meant to be nice.
Comforting. It's community. It's in theory inspiring you to live a moral life.
But then the problem is humans get a hold of it, and like everything, some psychopaths rise to the top.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like, we need to make them all believe.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. So do you think the idea of, if you were religious, dying and believing in eternal life after that, do you not think things should come to an end?
Things should come to an end. I wouldn't want to live forever, but I'd like to live for do you know what? I'd like it to be like, you live to about 400. That'd be good.
400
would be good.
And I think our younger years should be extended.
Yes, I agree.
We've only got our 20s and our teenage years for what, like, you're only good really for what, 20 years?
That's more of a
And
society
then bits
thing.
start falling apart.
Yeah.
You can't go out drinking as much like you used to.
But I think life, that's why life changes at 40, innit? Like, I want to get, I like it when you meet people who are like 45 and they're just content. They're just going, nah. You go, oh, we're having it. They come out, like, you meet some of the older comics. You go out after a show and they have a pint and a half, and they're like, no, man, I'm going back to my hotel room. See you later. They're down for breakfast at 7.
Yeah.
You're just getting in.
Proper former alcoholic vibes, though.
No. You meet those ones as well. You meet some of those ones where you go like, dude, you shouldn't be coming out with me.
I am the devil.
Taking their wedding ring off, and you're like, keep that on.
You are the subject of a future AA meeting.
Yeah. They take their wedding ring off, some of them, and you're like, bro, like, you're not gonna. I don't know who you think in this Prism nightclub.
Also, in Prism nightclub, are they even worried about a wedding ring? Is that a deal breaker?
Have you ever had one of those? That's why I like comedy. We're forced into situations where you hang out with different people with different aspects of life.
You never normally would.
You never normally hang out with, like, Adam Rowe told me a great story, and I just like the story because the story is just, he went to the cinema with a bunch of comics he was with on a weekend, and it was him, Adam Bloom, and Quincy. And I was just thinking, I'd love for the person selling them the tickets for the film to go, how the fuck do these guys know each other?
Yeah, it's so true. Like the amount of car shares I've had with like 75-year-old comics and stuff, and just like then we get out of the car to give a go have dinner.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is this relationship? You can tell people.
Yeah, sorry, just for listeners, because you might not know, they are Adam Rose. Like, you know, Adam, you should know Adam's a great comic. They're all amazing comedians. Adam Rose is like a sort of like proper scouse lad. Adam Bloom's an old Jewish man, and Quincy's a big black guy. So it's like, what the person's like, how do they know each other? Yeah, but have you ever had that where you're sat backstage with? Bring it back to what we're talking about, looking into the future, knowing that we know that death's upon us, knowing that old age is coming, which makes death harder to deal with. Because it's not like, imagine you just stayed in the shape you were as 20 to 90, but then you just suddenly died. That would be a little bit better, but it's the decaying.
It'd be worse, because then that means you're like competing with 90-year-olds for girls my age. You didn't think about that?
No, I didn't, you know.
And they got like 60 years more game than you.
Oh my God, imagine that.
Do you know what I mean? Like imagine getting your girl stolen from a 90-year-old.
Oh my God.
You can tell her like just bare World War II stories. And I can't compete with that.
The amount of lying about, hey, you're just there, yeah, you know. So it's nice to meet. He's like, I fought for your freedom.
I can't beat that child lying.
Do you reckon with people it would go the other way? People would start lying about their age to seem older. You'd get rid of you'd get rid of ageism, wouldn't you?
It's true.
You'd get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because people would lie to seem more experienced. Because think about it, if you're 90 and you've worked 30 jobs,
Yeah.
you've got a wealth of experience. Oh my God, you're going to be a stud.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
You got to think about that. But would they still have like young people dementia? They'll be young, but they still have like old people health problems.
I think, I don't know.
I think if you're not going to decay physically, you shouldn't mentally either.
Yeah. I don't know, that could be quite fun.
Like, because he could take a girl's number, but he just don't remember it.
Don't remember the next day.
And then that's why I come in. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's pros and cons.
So what I was saying was, so you're looking into have you ever had that thing in comedy where, or any job that relates to comedy with us, because we're comedians, and you're in a green room and you're hanging out with an older comedian, not done as well as they would have liked to. They're still doing well, but it's all perspective. And do you ever have that thing where you go, how do I not become this? Like, how do I make it that when I get older, whatever happens in this job, that I'm not this? Have you ever had that?
Yeah, of course. But then sometimes I wonder, is that going to be purely making sure my career goes well, or is that me being happy no matter how I end up?
It is the latter, but I don't want to accept that because I think you lose a level of ambition. Personally, I think at this age we're at now, where it's a lot about how hard we can work, talent's part of it. Both proved we're talented. It's now about work ethic.
Yeah.
I think if you accept that, because it is the latter. There's comedians I know, the happiest comedian, and not to say they're not successful, they're doing very, very, very well. They're doing very, very well.
Yeah, they're full-time comedians. You know what I mean? They're making money off the job that they love.
So kind of a bad example because he's doing amazingly, but like Kai Humphries, who travels the world with him and Sauce, best pals on the road, living their life together. They've nailed it everywhere they go. Kai has the healthiest attitude to comedy that I've ever seen, in just that this is great.
Yeah.
If Kai was just, even though Kai's where he is because he's fantastic, if Kai was just just having to drive to gigs every weekend and do all of this stuff, he would still just be as happy probably.
You reckon? I don't know, Kai. But in just terms of like, sometimes when we say we're content or we're happy with the way things are, is that because things are going nice right now?
Ooh, that's a good point. I think Kai could stop doing comedy and still be happy.
Yeah.
Personally, I think because his life is like, oh, it's great. I'll just, the days I get to spend with my wife, and then I live in Glasgow and I love it here. Every city he lives in, he loves it, But that's a perspective thing. But then there's comedians who are doing very, very well, or you'd say like going better, sort of like I even know he's doing good, and them fucking miserable. So, but what you're saying is the thing. I think the comedians in that dressing room, what I'm talking about is they're drinking loads, and not being fun drinking, sad drinking,
like a whiskey, mixer.
Just straight Jameson.
No ice, yeah.
telling you, oh God, used to do 5 gigs a week. Oh no! But then, do you look at that and use that as sort of a way of going? That's not how I want to be remembered when I die. I don't want to be that guy, that person who was.
I mean, is that something you think about? Do you think about your legacy? How you'll be remembered?
Yeah. Well, you don't want to have a Jimmy Savile legacy, do you?
Because, like you said, right? Well, Jimmy.
There's a bit of a difference between like I'm not ambitious and I don't want a Jimmy Savile legacy.
Yeah.
There's a few steps.
Maybe it's lacking ambition not to have a Jimmy Savile. Maybe you could go, I want that kind of fame, but for something else. Not.
At some point, he probably did set out to be the best child molester in the world.
Well, yeah. It's like 9/11, isn't it? You can't. You go. That's awful and horrible. But you look at the way they pull it off, and you go, fucking hell.
Whilst working a full-time job.
It is all right.
It's 2 full-time jobs, really.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I hate it. Exactly. Well, do you know what? He had. If you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life.
This is shit.
You don't. You know what I mean? He went out there
With so much vigor in his old age.
Just loved it.
He was a 25-year-old.
He was a 25-year-old in a 90-year-old's body when it came to molesting kids. He never lost that. This is the thing.
He was watching those Michael Jordan videos on motivation. Like, now you got what? You got to be out there on the court every day. And it's like,
He was. But
it's the documentary. Is it like a Last Dance documentary?
Yeah. It's just him going, and I took that personally. But this is again, sorry to bring it back to this, but like, how did he? So I remember my dad, right, when I was 11 years old. We were talking about Jimmy Savile. There was some reason there was a conversation that we were out in France or something. He was talking to some people we'd met, and Jimmy Savile popped up, and my dad went, he's a paedophile. And his people were like, Jimmy, no. And my dad was going, it's well known that Jimmy Savile is a paedophile. And my dad wasn't even going because he'd worked for the BBC or anything like that. My dad was in some news, like there was always rumours. My dad went, he used to openly say he was a paedophile.
Yeah, I saw a video. It was a joke he made on Have I Got News For You about something like that. And Ian Hislop was just like, he just wasn't laughing.
Yeah.
And the other hosts, they weren't laughing because they were like, yeah, we know that this is not a joke.
Yeah.
But the audience loved it. It got clapped, biggest applause of the night.
Yeah, because back in the 70s, so what's his name? If you want to ruin a legacy, look up David Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah, look up some. Look up some stuff about Bowie.
Yeah, but it depends.
Let this podcast bring his headstone. Imagine this podcast is the one that did it.
It depends what alter ego he was doing stuff under though. David Bowie had a lot.
Yeah,
of stuff.
it was teenage girls, wasn't it?
What, David Bowie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It depends what alter ego. If he did Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, like because obviously if he's changed personas, then that doesn't.
I had that.
Count.
So I have this. I don't know where she's from. It's Aussie. It's New Zealand. I just don't really know. Her name's Gail. Gail Full Swins.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. And basically this guy once got with me. I think he just asked me to keep doing the voice. So I think he just liked Gail.
You liked Gail?
Yeah.
So you had to pretend to be Gail.
So I just pretend like I didn't do it for the whole time, but I just pretend that wasn't me. That was Gail. I can't answer.
You were making Gail type noises?
No. No.
Aw.
Oh, I don't even
Well,
know.
you might.
Yeah,
Right
I can
there,
help.
mate.
Oh, yeah, right on, cut. I mean.
Stick another finger in.
Gail's a freak. Whoa.
But that's what a lot of sex workers do for sex work. They become their alter ego to get through. We're gonna at some point do a philosophy on sex work with an actual sex worker on I don't know how we get one. We'll just book one. Just tell us.
Don't
Come on.
pretend like
Get
you
one.
don't. Stop pretending like you don't know several.
I think. I've
Oh,
got
where
some
would I
friends-
possibly find one?
I know.
I've got, it depends what kind of sex work you're looking for. I do have some friends that
I
are
know.
in the industry.
I've got a few friends that are in the street. Not even that way. Not even like I've been soliciting. Like genuinely, I live a good life, people. It's
That's why
snowboarding.
you're content.
That's why I'm content. Would you describe me as content?
You're more got a good head on your shoulders than maybe a lot of people your age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Who's 8 months older than me for giving me.
I do feel like I'm a lot older than you sometimes.
Really?
A little bit.
You think you're a lot older than me?
I feel like it sometimes.
You're doing a podcast and you're currently checking BBC Sport.
Yeah, because my team lost.
Okay, fair enough. I'm a lot wiser than you as I stare at my phone during work.
What?
I have a question. Do you
Yeah.
ever think that? So right now we're in this room. We're all looking at each other. We're all experiencing this moment, but we don't know if outside this container there's just like a black void and nothing exists.
I don't think that's true. Sorry to shoot that down, but I know what you mean. But
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's like I sometimes think like, what's going on in Papua New Guinea at the minute? How do I know that it's actually happening?
There's a bunch of countries I don't even know exist.
Yeah.
Like, do they exist?
Well, is that thing where sometimes
Oh, it's that tree and a wood thing. Isn't it?
yeah, where you think like that, but then one is that selfish to think like that the world doesn't happen without me.
I think like it's kind of a natural thought for your brain to go. I mean, if you genuinely believe it, then that is probably extreme narcissism.
To be honest, the thing is though, it's like the world doesn't. It's not like that for you. So like my world right now, our worlds right now are in this room, and then like as soon as we step outside, then we'll see the rest of the world. It doesn't matter to us because we only need to know what's going on in our lives. It's not actually useful for everyone if we all know the information of everybody.
Yes, so I'm trying to write a bit about this.
Oh, okay.
About that's the problem with online is that I know everyone's opinion now, and I didn't need to know that.
Yeah, and you also know what everyone's up to. You know that literally every movement because you're following them on
But then-
like
but there's
Insta
also, like-
stories and stuff.
You know, there's so many issues to care about because you see all of them, and now you have to extend your empathy towards all of them, and I find it really hard.
Right. So
Yeah.
My empathy is limited.
It is. Empathy is limited, right? So at the moment, we all care about Ukraine, but it's getting a bit boring. We've seen it. So now it's Rishi Sunak. We need to be angry at Rishi Sunak and his wife for dodging tax. Sunak.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on. If he can't pay tax, I don't have to learn his surname, how to pronounce his surname
I think
properly.
it's such a good thing though if you mispronounce someone's name on purpose as a sort of like downplay.
Okay.
If I saw you and I was like, oh, was it Eddie? Was it? I was like, oh, nice to meet you, Eddie.
That is calculated.
And you would be like Elliot, and I'm like, oh yeah, thanks, Eddie.
That is a calculated. That's like
such
something
a
out the
horrible-
game.
What's the game?
The game was a book written by nerds on like a mathematical equation on how to pull women, basically.
Is that where the whole like I've lost the game came from?
No. That was just a thing
That
for
was a
4chan.
separate thing.
I think the scary thing, I think the game actually works.
It works a certain way. Like it's actually a decent. I've read half of
Works
the
with
book.
certain. Wait, hang on. What's the game? Why don't all these women know about the game?
No, they do. But it's misquoted a lot. It's not.
You know things like negging?
Oh yeah.
That would be in the game.
But negging was the whole point of negging was people started using it as an insult. It's not meant to be an insult or a compliment. It's something in between, so it starts a conversation. If you read the game, one, it's lame as fuck, like in a lot of ways. Two, just to take what it says, it's go and chat to people.
Yeah.
That's essentially it. If you could go and chat to people, but it's giving nerds who are afraid to chat to women a map, a way to start conversation, and then it get. But if you're an interesting person and you go and chat to people, people will find you interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes they won't.
Do you have a chat up line?
No.
No.
I used to try and have one, but it was just shit. It never worked.
What was it?
It was just like this. It was like something from the game. It was like a conversation starter thing of like about how like, oh, my little brother has a poster on the wall of like actually it was David Bowie. full circle here, and he's naked. Is that weird? And it was meant to, but I did that.
That was your chat up line?
Yeah, because it starts conversation, and I did that one night with a mate of mine, Tom Horton, and he was like, never fucking do that. And he just basically went, stop trying to do this stuff that you've seen off YouTube of like, guys, like, it's lame as fuck. Just go and be interested. Go. You're an interesting person. Go and be an interesting person.
I think a good chat up line is just, hi, I'm Michael. Hi, I'm Elliot. That's a good chat up line.
I'm not over Elliot's chat up line. Hang on. Did you say this to, like, on a night out, would you say this to multiple women?
No. I never really had the confidence. That's what I'm saying. I'm speaking for it. I would never really have the confidence to, and I'd fluff my lines halfway through.
So you save it for special occasions, like weddings.
Yeah. Because it's just a lame way of. I was like 21. So it's just that lame thing you do when you're 21.
So young, so long ago.
Well, it is, because when you're 21 and you first start going out, and if you start chatting to women who are 23, 24, they're still going to want to go for guys who are a little bit older than you anyway. So you're trying to compete with guys with that wealth of experience that you're saying. Think about how hard it would for someone with 60 years game over you. If you're 21 and you're chatting to a girl who's used to going with 30-year-olds, you've got to have the chat of a 30-year-old.
This is why I don't like when women get mad that older guys date younger women. It's like, it's just a game. Being you had it when you were having it later. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, that it's with that one. Do you know what I find hilarious is that everyone's allowed to demonize Leonardo DiCaprio for going out with 24-year-olds or whatever, but Elizabeth Warren, who's old as shit.
Is that the politician?
Yeah, she got caught like fucking some military guy who was like young, and it was like, yes, queen, slay, I love that she's a freak. And it was just one of those things where you're like, you see, ladies, you want to moan about us and say that we're real pigs.
I think with Leonardo DiCaprio, it's the sheer amount of girls. It's like, it's very obvious that there is a cut-off point, and if you're over 24, you're not getting a look in.
Well, that's his preference. It's legal.
That's the Leonardo DiCaprio VIP club.
Yeah, he's one of the world's greatest actors. He gets to choose. He gets to live his life whatever way he wants to live it. He's got a legacy. When he dies, he's got that legacy. He's changed acting. They're going to bring stuff up about him at the Oscars. They're all going to stand and applaud because he's lived his life to that point where you talk about legacy. That's what he does. He's now so famous. He can just go, hey, here's exactly what I want sexually. And and you know what? Good on him for not doing it a Jimmy Savile way.
Yeah.
Like, fair play to him.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know that.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
Come on, Leo.
I see. It seems like everyone who gets incredibly famous and wealthy at the minute just some reason goes to Epstein's Island. That's the. Yeah. But okay, so like Jeffrey Epstein, he died.
He did that. Killed himself. Wink, wink.
Do you reckon he did kill himself?
Of course he killed himself.
Fuck off. Are you mental, Mike? Are you actually mental? You think he killed himself?
I think he was given freedom to kill himself.
Yeah.
Nope. Absolutely
you think
no
someone
chance.
else killed him?
Okay, here's the thing with the Epstein stuff.
Oh, here we go.
Right, here's the thing with the Epstein things. That nothing to do with Epstein's suicide. The judge who was given, who was made to look into Epstein's finances. There's things in Epstein's finances that don't make sense, right? That's why there's a conspiracy theory that he might be tied to Mossad or the CIA, because yes, he had hundreds of millions, but he was affording a lifestyle of multiple billions, and it doesn't quite add up. So a judge was told to look into his finances. A lone gunman turns up at the judge's house, botches the assassination, kills her son, kills her husband, and shot at her. The gunman was then found dead by suicide, a gunshot wound to the head, suicide, and they went, oh, it was one of those incels. Case closed.
Is that true?
That's true. That happened during lockdown and wasn't international news.
What?
Right, so look it up just to prove I'm not bullshitting. So that's the kind of thing, if you see in a film, you'll be like, oh, that thing would be world news.
Well, then
absolutely
nobody's killed his girlfriend. Just
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
I think people want to.
Well, then I think they would have done it.
I think there are things in that suicide that don't make sense.
Oh, the son was only 20 as well. I'm just got it up here.
Yeah.
Judge Frida Wolfson.
Mm-hmm. See,
I had no idea about that.
Why was that not international news?
That's some weird shit, man.
Right, exactly. So this whole he killed himself thing. So that's what I'm saying. So you reckon he was so upset by the legacy he was about to leave.
I don't think he was worried about his legacy. I just think.
Why'd he kill himself then?
He probably just didn't want to go down for it.
But why would he? Why would this
Well,
be?
it's just like I've lost everything. Might as well. As soon as I get a chance to end it all, I will take it.
I don't know. I'm not even as convinced myself anymore.
Yeah. And the cameras at the jail were turned off, and one of the people he was given a cell with was a cop who got done for something like he killed 4 people in a coke deal gone wrong, and he was a cop at the time. So there's a lot of shit that I don't want to become. Look, guys, I'm a conspiracy theorist every now and then. I don't know if you can tell.
I've done your research.
I've gotten out of how bad I used to be with conspiracy theories because I was unbearable. So, but
What, this is bearable?
this is no. This is when it triggers me. I've got conspiracy PTSD. Like when it comes and I get into it, I get real into it.
What's your conspiracy theory about death then?
My conspiracy theory about death, my theory of death is that what I like to believe, but I don't think is true, is that we are all going through this level of consciousness that we have to experience. So whatever's next, we have an understanding of feelings and emotions and are able to, and then they mean less and less to us. What do you think?
Can you explain that a bit more?
No. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, you go to the DMT realm, what I like to think, and you become one of the elves, and you have an understanding of the universe.
Say
in this
elves?
place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wild theory right there.
Yeah, it's definitely not true. But it's nice to hold on to it.
It's not definitely not true.
Do you think we're all connected? Even
There's
if you're not on a religious, do you think we're all connected?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, I do. Sorry. Well, yeah, going on from what you were saying earlier, Mike, as well, about like breathing in the air. So I eat something. I eat some cheese that was made from a cow that ate the grass where we just buried my gran, you know? So I've technically...
That'd be a great children's book.
like a really weird
Yeah.
circle
Really
of
get them
life.
over there.
Yeah. Do you think we should be teaching kids about death?
I think it's when they start asking about death, because as a child, you can't quite understand it, but you know it's there, but you don't know what it is. But we don't know what death is, right?
So do you just be honest with kids? Like, listen, I don't know what's gonna happen.
No, because that then brings down religion, doesn't it?
But then you even be like, then like it's faith. I just don't know what's gonna happen because I've not experienced death.
But that's why you have to get kids, and this is my problem with religion. That's why you have to get children to believe in it, because then it's like a learnt behavior, so it's there forever. The idea that, but if you don't believe it and you do die, we don't know what's going to happen. But there is a chance you go to hell.
It's warm.
Oh, dude, hell scares me because it's forever.
Just like
Forever.
But
having
wouldn't
like
heaven scare you then if it was forever?
what if there's someone you don't like in heaven?
But we talked about this before. I'd like to think I get my own personal heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Just a whole one. Just-
Heaven for myself. It's just going to be me and my boys. We're sat around a pool. And it's going to just be before we go out at night forever, where you're excited, you're going out, just having a couple of beers, like a few cigarettes, sat around a nice swimming pool on a sunny day, talking shit. And forever you've got that feeling of like, we better get ready, we're going to go out, but it's cool here. And that's going to be it forever.
Do you
Oh,
not
that's
think
nice.
like
Yeah, that's a nice place, isn't it?
eventually though, if
Yeah.
if you have the same thoughts, the same anxiety, same emotions, you're gonna get existential about it. You're gonna get existential about the existential. Like, oh my gosh, this doesn't. And like I remember watching A Good Place. They had towards the end of the series, all of them went to heaven, and you can stay in heaven for as long as you want, like literally centuries. But then you might get to a point where you're like, do you know what, I've had enough, and then you can just put a full stop. And most people got to that point where they're like, you know what, I've had all the experience I've want for many, many centuries, hung out with great people, but I'm eventually ready for this to be full stop and put an end to it all.
Yeah,
and I
that's
kind of like the idea of that.
Why is there always more suffering but not enough contentment?
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean? Because then you're saying you don't want to be in heaven every day because you get bored of that. So you'd go to hell every day.
I'd like to go hell. I'd like to see if I could go down to hell and join in with a bit
But like
of torture.
every single day, that's going to get worse, right? Because you're just like, oh my God, it's just...
Or the same level of bad.
I'd want to go get like a little job in hell. You know,
But
I
you'd
think you
be,
could
go
get
throw
used to
bricks
it.
at Hitler or something.
you'd be so mentally strong
What
in
in
hell.
hell? Me?
Because you're not dying. So you just put up with pain.
I know. I think if you're in a boiling tub of lava for the rest of your life, and some guy's putting a pitchfork in your head, you're not gonna get accustomed to it.
Do you think the people in purgatory are the workers for heaven and hell? They like serve the food in heaven and hit Hitler with bricks in hell.
Yeah, I think do you know what though? But if we're all connected and maybe there isn't a hell, Hitler goes to heaven. Is that like ultimate forgiveness?
What?
You know what I mean?
No.
If we're gonna forgive people, you can't.
You can't forgive without remorse.
What do you mean?
Someone has to be really remorseful for what they've done.
So he needs to understand and own his actions and show that he changed.
He needs to do an interview with Oprah.
Yeah.
And they just kind of, now you know what you did was bad, right? And then I want to see Hitler cry. It's just like, I made these paintings and nobody liked them. I think that would be, he could do a lot for his PR.
Yeah.
If he did with an interview.
There's not a lot he could do worse.
Right. Yeah.
It would be really interesting to see some of the like real villains of the past living now with their PR team and see who still actually is terrible or who has been like forgiven.
Well, that's legacy. Well, this is the thing, your legacy changes. So Genghis Khan raped, murdered, killed kids and like was awful, terrible. As bad as a person could be. But so long ago, we're kind of like, nah, it doesn't really matter.
Well, no, not even that. It's just mindsets change. That was morally acceptable back then. That was the said thing to do. You conquer, divide and conquer.
But Caesar's palace in Las Vegas, Caesar salad. Caesar committed a Holocaust against the Gauls. Like
Who the Gauls?
Like what would have been Germans at the time. It was sort of
Did he get all of them?
Celtics. Well, I think he murdered a third and enslaved another third, and then just left a third. It was like, all right, we've made our point.
There's got to be a certain point, like past BC, where we can't sort of try and apply our moral codes to it.
Well, that's a good point. That's why people get cancelled and stuff now for a tweet you did 8 years ago. If you did a tweet 8 years ago calling someone a tranny, that was, for some reason, that was fine. And now that's totally not fine. And if that was brought up, you now, by today's standard, that's not brought into account that 8 years ago. It was more acceptable to speak that way.
Yeah. I feel like when people are cancelling you for something that from 8 years ago, they're still like, they're not applying that context of like Twitter 8 years ago was a very wild place.
Yeah.
But they're like cancel you by today's standards, which doesn't always seem fair.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So how long should that cut off?
Definitely
Statute
200
of limitation.
BC.
200 BC.
Yeah.
Anyone who did anything before 200 BC.
It's just kind of like 200 BC mentality.
So that's what 2,200 years, right?
Yeah.
So in 2,200 years.
Another
Hitler, another 2,200 years. Hitler's fine. Done.
Nah, but it's just
Well,
a
it
different,
depends on the context of
it's a
where
different moral code. You know what I mean? There was no moral code in 200 BC.
It would have been a moral code, just not as you just decide it's not as moral as today's standards. But does morality really exist?
Like things like slaves and stuff, 200 BC, that was okay.
That was okay 170 years ago.
Yeah, but like, yeah, that's true.
It's only recently. We're not even that. It's not even that we've banned slavery now. We're just
worldwide there's still slavery.
Yeah, there's still slavery. Am I right? 0-hour contract workers.
Political.
But would you? But that's what I'm saying. So like, you might think that there's no moral code 2,200 years ago, but there would have been a type of moral code. Just not one that we don't know it because you probably have to be in the culture to see it.
Yeah. Also, like, they did have their version of cancelling, but then it would be like stoning you. And I think that's good.
You'd rather people get stoned for their tweets.
And just like, you did something, you stole an apple, they chopped off your hand, and it was things a lot more clear back then.
But that's because you needed that.
You?
If you got your hand chopped off now, yeah, okay, granted that would be really inconvenient. But if someone shut down your Twitter account and you're like a big celeb, that's gonna...
That is equivalent.
Yeah, that is an equivalent.
That's gonna hurt you more.
Well, you wouldn't have been able to work with just one hand. It would have made life so much harder.
You could still tweet. with one hand, but you can't tweet if you don't have a Twitter account.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. That's why when you see someone gets cancelled and kicked off all social media platforms, it is really bad. Are you all right?
I'm all right.
What the Mike's just here rubbing his stomach. You okay?
I almost died yesterday.
You almost died?
I was sick.
Do you want to talk about your near-death experience and how that has brought you closer to your beliefs with mortality?
Well, I woke up yesterday with a very hurtful stomach. And I was feeling lethargic, and I think I was PMSing basically, or equivalent to that. It
might be something to do with the moon, to be fair.
The moon.
It might be a full moon.
Yeah. So I was just in pain, and then it made me think of death and whatnot, and coming close to death, and then I've just come here and shared my experience.
How do you feel about life now?
I feel like we need death. I became very comfortable with death yesterday. I feel like we only do things because we know we're gonna die.
Right.
Oh. I feel like we do things to prevent ourselves from dying because we're actually quite scared as a species.
No, I mean, why?
We have 5 minutes left just to cover this.
We've only been recording for 45. Do we have to leave in 5?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sorry. No, this was just because suddenly got mad interested. And then anyway, here's our socials. The next podcast people could be 10 minutes late. Is that okay?
Yeah. So I would say we do things to prevent ourselves from dying because we're so scared of it constantly.
No, we do things to avoid the thought of dying, but to prevent it? I don't know. I think the only reason we're so ambitious as humans is because we know our time is limited. It's the reason me and Elliot work moderately hard at comedy. I don't know. It's the reason you go after people you love because you know they're going to die subconsciously. So I think why not have it at the forefront of your mind when taking action to sort of almost like, refresh you and remind you of what's important because you know you're going to die.
Elliot, what do you think on this?
Yeah, we're going to see why it's called Btec philosophy now. I think that's a beautiful outlook to have in life. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. To be honest, you summed it up quite well.
That was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. It was all about love and death, and I'm just here like, I just spent the show talking about Jimmy Savile.
No, I think having death at the forefront of your mind will make you act more clearly. You don't want to tell that girl you love her, you're gonna die.
But I think it needs to come from a place of acceptance rather than a place of fear. Okay, maybe that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, that's
so. If, for example, working out because you're so scared that you're going to die and you need to stay healthy and you just become obsessed, that's going to be more problematic than working out because you love your body and you love life and you just love the endorphins running around your bod.
Yeah, I think I live like a good life, but from a negative outlook in terms of very anxious, very sort of, scared. I'm very bad at I look back in the past and be like, oh, you fucking idiot all the time. I've done that since a child. I find bigger and bigger ways to do it as I get older. Whereas you're very good at just going, that's in the past. Yeah. I only have one life. I'm going to leave. You have one of the most positive outlooks of anyone I actually know.
Oh, thank you, man. But yeah, I
shouldn't.
My life circumstances.
It's worrying.
I need to wake up. I think the moment you start regretting things, it's bad because, for example, I'm super happy with where my life is at now. I'm content. So for me to have regrets about mistakes I made in the past, that's me saying I'm not happy with the person I am today. Because I'm only the man I am today because of things that happened in the past going the way they happened.
Yeah.
So you need to have the acceptance of that it all happened because it's supposed to happen.
Yeah. That's nice. So you believe in a fate almost.
Kind of. But then I understand if your life isn't great at the moment, of course you're going to ruminate on all those prior mistakes.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I just feel like, just change it.
Depends how good, what you consider a great life though. Because every now and then I like to, just when I'm walking along, go, how amazing is it that my brain just tells my legs to do this and I do it. And there's people out there who would give everything to experience that. you know, they will, you know, not that they're like any less of a person, but they can't do this, and it's something that's just going to affect them for all their life, and I'm going to be able to see people waste the idea that they're able to do that every day because I'm too focused on some guy on Instagram who drives a Ferrari and tells me that I'm lazy, that I'm not looking at the miracle that is I wake up and I'm healthy, and I'm so healthy I try and ruin my body. I drink alcohol and smoke cigarettes and weed because my body works so well that I can take the piss. I actually got a quote on death. I forgot who wrote it because I didn't write their name down, so I apologize. But you look it up if you want to find out who did it. While we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we no longer exist.
Boom. I love that.
Yeah. Do you agree?
Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. It's a favourite quote
Is
of
it
mine.
Epicurus?
Yeah, maybe. Are they a big philosopher?
Yeah.
Death is only worrying when you have a lot of time to think about it. You know, if you died and... That's why I want to die. I want to get like just trampled by an elephant.
That could be one of the most horrific deaths your body
Yeah,
would
but
think.
I wouldn't see the elephant coming.
Right, so you're just going down like Romford High Street.
And this elephant.
And this elephant that escaped from Romford Circus.
Yeah, it tramples on me, and then I'm dead.
That would be one of the most horrific. What age are you when this happens?
Mid-40s. Trampled by an elephant, and plus, what a way to die, you know.
I would hate to be trampled by an elephant.
How would you want to die?
I used to say something called like shark attack in it, but then I saw that video of a guy getting eaten by a shark. You seen it?
No, of course I haven't seen it.
Fucking mental. Mental.
Do you like watching videos of like?
I'm so. I know.
How did it happen? Did he eat him whole, or did he do bit by bit?
Oh, it's bit by
Who
bit.
was
It's fucking.
filming?
It's fucking. So, the
Yeah.
filming of it is the
Filming.
most Aussie filming of anything I've ever seen. Right? It's just a bloke going, it's a great white. Mate. Literally, like just going, fucking hell, great white. Oh, nice, seen him.
Yeah.
Like that level of tone all the way through it.
Was he screaming?
Yeah. It didn't sound good. My mate just put it in a WhatsApp group, and by the time you've seen it, you're like, all right, well, that's now burnt into my retinas.
9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So how do you want to die now? I thought you said heroin.
Heroin would
What?
be, I think, a
You
nice.
want to die with nobility. Your family are like, oh gosh.
My family are around me, giving me heroin.
We're all overdosing together.
Or I don't know, maybe like in some suicide cult where a good number of us, thousands of us, kill ourselves, and like for years people make documentaries about it. I'm like ringleading it.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm one of those. We must ascend from this dimension to the next, and I've got enough people to believe it.
Yeah.
How would be the way you go? Poison.
I go by like a nice sort of more, I guess, a nicer way than poison.
Okay.
I think everyone else's poison should be very, very gruesome, sort of Game of Thrones style poison. And just to, I'm thinking of the documentary crew when they make this, they can really ham up the dramatization of this thing. I really, really go for it.
Yeah.
Production value. High.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking high budget Netflix series, big promotion, lots of blood, lots of,
Enough for season 2.
yes, people.
I think premiere in the cinema for
Yeah.
the first episode.
Yes. I want someone sort of maybe like a Martin Sheen to be playing my character if they do a drama of it.
Just in a reconstruction.
Not in a reconstruction, in like eventually they do a drama of it. Martin Sheen.
He's so much
Like-
older than you.
That is a good point. Okay, Timothy Chalamet.
Ah.
I think he's hot. He's current. He could play a good cult leader.
I don't know if he's
Yeah.
got the range to play you.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
He has the range.
Yeah.
Oh, he has the range.
Just very good actor.
Very good actor.
Will Poulter maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
he's a
Who,
really good actor.
who am I thinking
He
of?
was in Where the Millers played it.
Oh,
Bandersnatch, but he also did like a what's
he
it
could
called, like
play.
comedy. I don't know. It's like these young kids, and they did like
I saw
little
that.
comedy
Yeah.
sketches. I can't remember what it's called.
yeah, I know who you're on about. I
Yeah.
still think that's a step down from Timothy Chalamet. I think Timothy Chalamet is a star.
Somebody with a pudgier face to play you.
I resent that.
I feel like Tim.
No. Timothy Chalamet is undernourished.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, that's his whole. That's his whole sex appeal. Is like he needs a meal and a hug, and and all of us girls can provide that. And that's
Is that literally? Is it very much a we can change him?
Yeah, this is a fix up. Of
Right.
course.
Oh, so he's like hot, but he's not quite hot enough. But I could be the one.
But he is. But he's also ridiculously hot.
Oh, I
He's
see.
kind of chiseled.
I think the face is hot, the body is malnourished,
Okay.
and that is where I can fix him.
Okay.
You
Right.
feed him.
Feed him, and then through that.
Change a bit of his clothing.
No,
Well,
he's got
maybe
good
I was
style.
just going to say just feed his soul, feed his heart, and there we go.
What a life he
That's
would-
girl's job.
That is so funny how women look at things compared to guys' sex appeal, where it's like, yeah, she's fuckable.
There's a hole.
There's. What do you like about Nicki Minaj? Well, she's got mass tissing and all. We look at things so.
Yeah, like
different.
women think about like fixing a man, building him up. I would not build up any woman. You do what?
You just break them
I
down.
break them down. Build a woman up? What? No. Come with me with your shit together.
But do you think that's before we die? That's the thing we need to experience is true love.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
What do you want to do before you die? What's top 3 things?
I at this current age, get my career going.
Get your career going
Yeah,
before you die.
Yeah, get
No,
like
give me
have
some-
like a
be
good
specific.
career. Good career. Set up big shows, things like that.
O2 Arena?
No, I wouldn't want to do. Do you know what? If I got to the stage where I could do the O2, I feel like I would be robbing the audience of the experience.
What arena do you want to set up before you
Oh,
die?
I'd love to do Hammersmith Apollo.
Hammersmith Apollo.
Hammersmith Apollo would be my like that, or Brixton O2 Academy, just because it's in South London, and it would be cool. I grew up in this area now. That would be a cool fucking place to do a show.
Have a baby?
See, that one I'm not sure on. I think that's for a later stage of my life.
Before you die?
Before I die, but that maybe I guess I'm sure, but I haven't got anything in. I wouldn't like that at the moment. And number 3, just if England could win the World Cup,
So out of your control though.
it's so out of my control. But if that could happen, I think that would solve everything everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Wow. I mean, it's true, but it's sad, isn't it?
That's not my number 3. I guess I don't know what my number 3 would be. I guess it would be to find true love or something like that. But
Yeah.
I feel a bit.
Have you gone skydiving?
That's
I've never been. That's kind of on my list.
and your top 3 is to go skydiving. Fair enough.
Well, I'm asking, have you ever?
No.
No.
It's very
Okay.
attainable.
It's
life.
really,
It is attainable. Yeah, I think I'm going to
It's-
live a good life.
I mean, it's literally like you literally could do it whenever you wanted.
No, you can't. You can't because it's money and stuff, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, but you could still.
And it's scary.
We're still within reason.
It's still within.
It is still within reason.
It's a it's a
I
goal
could- I
you could
could
achieve
achieve-
within 4 months if you set your mind to it.
Sweet. I'm going to live a really good life.
What are yours, Mike? Your 3 things you want before you die.
I think, like yourself, find a true, meaningful love.
Yeah.
At least one time in my life, I want to say I've experienced that romantically.
Yeah.
Number 2, become the greatest comedian of all time.
Yeah. Okay. That's in my one as well.
All time.
That's in my one as well. I was trying to be humble with the Hammersmith
How can
Apollo.
you get big? Who is of all time right now?
Probably Kevin Hart.
Of all time, the greatest.
Biggest.
Kevin Hart,
He's not the
the
greatest
I
of
said
all
the
time.
biggest.
Oh, you said
No,
the
he's
greatest.
quite short.
I said the greatest.
Sorry.
You said the greatest.
I want to be greatly respected amongst my peers.
Yes.
Across the
Okay.
UK and America.
So here's the thing: you want to sell out the O2. This is my thing. I'd sell out the O2 if I was still had the respect as an artist. In a way,
I would do the O2 one time.
yeah. But I think once you're at that level where you're doing the O2 in our industry, I don't know how much of your decision that is. I think that's the people behind you going, but we could make this amount of money.
Your material has to be pretty broad as well.
Yeah, you need to get 11,000 people to come and see you. You are not saying you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally would have faith in you if you decided that was what you were doing. But I think I wouldn't want my comedy to be that broad.
Yeah.
Not to say like I've seen McIntyre live and it's unbelievable how good he is.
So sharp.
Anyone who can sell out the O2, not anyone who can sell it out, that's going to lie. Some people do it and I wouldn't rate them, but they're not for me, that's fine.
Yeah.
What are your other ones, sorry?
So what I say, find the true meaningful love, become greatest comic. of all time, and I don't know, just find deeper life contentment. Find deeper life
Very true.
contentment.
No, you had skydiving.
No, that's yours.
Yeah, that's my second one.
I want to have wisdom. I want to be wise.
I think you're very wise at the minute, man.
No, it's all for effect.
Okay, well, are you a fraud?
I'm a fraud.
Are you Jimmy Savile in me?
Elliot did an impression of me that was kind of very offensive but accurate.
Can I see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm trying to work out how to get love, but then I wonder, am I capable of experiencing and giving love myself? And then why do I worry about these things and not be more present in the moment? That is what Mike is like when you hang out with him after the podcast.
I close my eyes.
That's
there's
Mike,
two
isn't it?
mics in the room. Who's there?
I don't speak with that many pauses.
That's not true. You literally just said, I don't speak with many pauses.
I know I did. I spoke like that, to be honest.
I think that is, just before we go, you got things to promote, Mike? You do?
No.
You got an Amazon special coming out.
Oh my goodness.
The biggest thing anyone's ever promoted on this podcast.
May the 6th, people. I've filmed Amazon a special 1 hour. It's gonna be on Amazon Prime under the Soho Theatre Presents brand, and you can find it on May the 6th, and you'll really enjoy it. Please go.
It is fucking wicked show. Phoebe?
No, I'm all done with things. So
And
thank you.
before we say goodbye to this podcast and die on it for another week, maybe to resurrect, I will be at Crack Comedy Brixton on April 26th, and then I will also be doing my Match Festival show on May the 1st, and Brighton on May 3rd. I was in Brighton this weekend. It was fucking wicked. I will be at the Carolina Brunswick on May the 3rd with Ivo Graham as well. Yeah, exactly. And on May 30th in London, I'll be doing the West End Comedy Club, another preview with Ivo Graham. And I'll be announcing something very soon. I'm just trying to put things into motion and stuff, but I think I might do a proper London show this year and record it. Which will be mad.
Exciting.
Ooh, you could do it here.
No, but I would. I generally would if I knew the route. If I played Vauxhall more, if people would let me.
I believe we've booked you.
Yeah,
in.
yeah, that's fair enough. It was
doing admin again.
It was totally my fault.
Aren't you here next weekend?
Again, this
No.
is admin. Admin.
Okay.
I might be at Vauxhall next weekend, but I don't think so. I think I'm at Cardiff Glee.
Post-pod admin.
But
This is post.
this is been the podcast about mortality and death. I think we've covered it very well. I'm on Instagram at Elliot Still. Follow the Btec Philosophers pages on Twitter and Instagram at Btec Philosophers. I'm Elliot Still.
I'm Michael Odewale. Thank you for listening.